We will go ahead and get started. So, good afternoon. My name is Sarah Beth Doherty, and I am the communications lead for Parallel Flight. I want to welcome you all today to today's webinar, which is hosted by Parallel Flight Technologies and Genesis AI. So today you'll hear from two tech startup CEOs, Joshua Resnick of Parallel Flight Technologies and Archil Chesvili of Genesis AI, as they discuss their industries and share how their technology can be integrated to solve some of the world's biggest challenges. This will be an interactive webinar, and we invite you all to participate. Please feel free to use the chat feature at any time to ask questions, and we'll do our best to answer as many as possible during the Q&A portion of the webinar. And if we can't get to your questions today, we'll do our best to answer them via email as soon as possible. I'm going to drop links to our website and Genesis AI's website into the chat now for your reference. And with that, I will turn it over to Joshua and Archil for their introductions.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and good afternoon, depending on which coast you are calling in from. It's really exciting to be here. This is going to be a great conversation. As many of you know, my company, Parallel Flight Technologies, is building heavy lift drones for a lot of different applications. The genesis of our company was wildfire. My home was almost destroyed in this year's wildfire season. It was almost destroyed in the 2017 wildfire season in California. And that's when we kicked off Parallel, reinvented drone powertrain from the bottom up, worked with Department of Interior, Forest Service, CAL FIRE to come up with solutions for unmanned logistics for firefighters, as well as controlled burn solutions, and eventually for spot fire suppression, with the goal of really changing the game on wildfire. In the process of building this company and technology, we've connected with a lot of customers in multiple industries, and I can speak more to that a little bit later. So we are a heavy lift autonomous logistics solution company. And with that intro on my side, I will turn it over to Archil, who will introduce himself and his company. So I'm glad to be here and glad to be having this conversation with Archil.
Thank you, Joshua. Thank you, Sarah. This will be a fabulous conversation. So really excited for this, and thanks everyone for taking time to join us and engage in our discussion. So real brief about what we do at Genesis AI. So origin of Genesis AI is when me and my co-founders realized what is the biggest problem in artificial intelligence space. So currently, AI models are developed and operating in silos. They are operating and developed in a closed environment. There is no easy connectivity among AI tools. For example, there's no easy way for AI tools to trade services, learn from each other, and exchange data. It's sort of paradoxical that AI, which is all about gathering as much data as possible, there's no learning happening among AI tools. So one AI model is not learning from another AI tool. So me and my co-founders teamed up to solve this problem by creating a constitution, basically a set of rules that specify how distinct AI tools can work together. For example, how you can have speech recognition tool working with translation tool to produce speech translation. And our vision is to create a platform where people will be able to access high quality AI products and services, and access also have an ability to also monetize their AI products and services. And our vision is to connect hundreds of thousands of AI models to potentially lay foundation for creation of artificial general intelligence. And I'm sure me and Joshua will have interesting conversation about it too. This is a brief summary of what we do, and really excited to see where we will go from here.
So Archil, to kick off the conversation, I think it would be really great for our audience to understand a little bit more about what artificial intelligence is. Like, we hear the word AI, and I think some of us immediately conjure up images of Terminator or some some kind of terrifying dystopian future. But what is artificial intelligence, and how is it distinct from things like artificial general intelligence? These are like different terms that are floating around that people hear. Can you draw can you explain what those terms mean?
For sure, for sure. This is a great question, Joshua. So the way I think about artificial intelligence is a sophisticated statistical model. It's not really, there's no magic involved, there's no crazy computer science involved. It's a very sophisticated statistical model where you don't need to tell computer what to do. You don't need to program computer step-by-step guidelines of what to do, right? Then you try to feed the data and then let the computer do the rest of the work, basically, in terms of doing whatever you want them to do, right? So when it comes to AGI, artificial general intelligence, where we would like to get how many, whatever years it might take, right? Is when one AI model can do not just a narrow thing, but also can do multiple different things. For example, currently, all the AI tools are very narrow. They can do only single things. They cannot easily adapt to new environments. For instance, let's say AIs that can beat a world-class player in chess, right? But
Right.
that AI cannot easily start beating world-class poker player, right? So
Right.
this is a big problem, and our goal is to transition from narrow to general AI.
Interesting.
And Joshua, we can continue this conversation, but I also love to hear from your side. Where do you think drone industry to be going? And also, what are some of the most exciting developments and trends in the industry, and where you guys come in specifically?
Yeah, for sure. So, the drone industry is growing very rapidly worldwide. It's being primarily used right now for data acquisition, and it's being used heavily in construction, in land management, in agriculture. People are flying drones over fields and literally understanding on a plant by plant basis the health of their crop, and then spraying, whether it's fertilizer or insecticide exactly on the plant that needs it. So you don't have to waste as much material. It's much better for the environment. That's just an example. And, everything from search and rescue to construction, many industries, the power industry, the utility industries are using drones to inspect all of their power line infrastructure. And going forward 5 years, what we're going to see is, instead of drones just doing those kind of tasks with a pilot right, at the site of the inspection, they're going to be flying beyond line of sight, autonomously, powered by AI systems that are going to be developed and are being developed right now to do those kind of inspection tasks autonomously. In addition to that, and this is where parallel really comes in, we're going to see a lot of heavy lift logistics applications. There are companies with different technologies, ourselves being one of them, developing platforms to move things around. In our case, we're moving supplies for firefighters. We're moving, I'll talk a little bit more of the other applications we're doing, but some construction applications, moving heavy equipment from the bottom of a wind turbine to the top of a wind turbine so somebody can actually service it without having to carry that equipment up and down, replacing helicopters in a lot of applications that are extremely dangerous. So as the industry moves forward, we're going to see bigger drones, we're going to see more autonomous drones, and we're going to see swarms of drones doing operations. So those are some of the things that are coming down the pipeline. So I'll kind of flip the question. What do you see the state? What is the state of the AI? I mean, I guess I could call it an industry, but it's also kind of a field of science. What is the state of AI right now, and where do you see that in 5 years?
For sure, for sure. So I think the biggest development we see right now, which I think we are at the forefront of this, is how you can have AI models to interact with each other, right? Because I guess people are starting to realize that people in the AI industry have been reinventing the wheel 100 times. There are hundreds of speech recognition tools, hundreds of natural language processing tools, and there's no way for people to use each other's tools to improve the overall ecosystem. And I think that's the most exciting development. And we believe that will be also foundation for next level of artificial intelligence, right? Because the analogy I like to talk about is how human body functions. You have different body parts responsible for different things, right? I can flex my muscle, I can eat, and so on, right? And all of them are connected. So I think the most exciting part is you have all these expert AI tools out there. So if you connect all of them, you can do literally crazier things a person can even imagine, right? So, and I think also interesting application, Joshua, is AI in drones, right? So maybe we can talk a little bit about how autonomous drones are now, whether they are mostly GPS controlled by someone else, or can they operate independently? And also how drones treat some of the outlier cases, right? When it has not seen something that is about to see.
Yeah, those are really good questions. I mean, and that's really why we're having this webinar, right? It's like this real strong intersection of these two types of technologies. So right now, there's different companies with different applications are kind of at different levels. So if you look at like Skydio, for example, they're building essentially an autonomous selfie drone. So the drone has an AI system that's been trained to follow the subject and film them, and it's amazing. Like it can fly through woods, it can fly, it can make artistic camera angles while you're riding a bicycle, through a complex trail. It can avoid people. It's a very intelligent system that's been developed. But again, the task is relatively limited there. It's a filming platform, right? It's a cinematography platform. Of course, they're expanding that to some inspection applications and partnering with other companies to do, for example, to track boxes in a warehouse and things like that. When you think about drones in general, it's a lot easier to fly a drone than it is to drive a car. So, for example, at Tesla, and for the audience, I worked at Tesla for 4 years prior to coming to founding Parallel. I was the lead electrical engineer on the Tesla semi-truck program. And, the lesson at Tesla was that it's that 1% case that's so hard. It's what we call an edge case, where you can train your AI to do 99% of driving, but it's that 1% that is really, really hard. For drones, the situation's similar, but different in the sense that there's just a lot less stuff in the air than there are on the roads. So it's a lot easier to train an autopilot. Most jets that you go fly in, they're being flown essentially autonomously. The pilot's there taking care of things, but the jet can really fly itself because, again, it's just a lot simpler to navigate that three-dimensional space than it is, the complex road system. Our drones right now, and I'll wrap this up because there's a whole conversation to be had here. Like our drones right now, we fly a GPS pattern. It's all by GPS, and essentially it's like a 3D printer, right? It's not doing anything super intelligent, but we want to add intelligence so that eventually it can, come down through trees, for example, and land, to drop off payload. So that's where there's this big intersection with AI learning, so that we can take those LiDAR maps, those computer vision maps, infrared, and bring all that data together and use it, for different applications like identifying a spot fire for wildfire suppression. We're working with a group out of Spain right now, specifically for that purpose, to identify hotspots and wildfires. So there's lots of different intersection there. But I think I guess I'm a little concerned about AI, you know, in the sense that we talk about artificial general intelligence, we're talking about something that, has human level intelligence potentially at some point in the future. I know we're not there now, but it seems like the potential for that to get out of control and become dangerous could be a real thing. Like, what is your thought about that? And like, I think as much as we don't have like Terminator right now, I can almost see it on the horizon. Like, how do we avoid that kind of thing?
For sure, that's a great question. And before I go there, a quick question about your thoughts about drones. I'm sure people will be interested. For example, the case of how drone potentially avoids birds, right? Because birds are flying, you can hit the bird, and if it's a big bird like eagles, then it might completely crush the drone, right? Depending on the size of the drone, right? So how the drones do that? So allowed to hear your thoughts about that. That's one. And second, when it comes to AGI and artificial general intelligence, the way I think about this is artificial intelligence is a tool that can be used for good things and bad things too. For example, telephones. You can use telephone to talk to your mom, or you can use it to call school and say that there is big problems there, right? For example, there's a bomb, right? It can be used, but just because it can be used in the wrong way doesn't mean that we should sort of be scared of this technology. But I think what's most important is to have some sort of safeguards in place. An analogy I like to bring is if a child grows up by seeing lots of violence around it and lots of negativity, there is a high chance that this kid might do some violence himself, right? Because it's what he has been surrounding with. Similarly, if AI models will be trained by lots of hate and lots of bad things, there is a higher likelihood that something bad potentially might happen. So I think doing some sort of safeguards and the world agreeing on some both ethical and practical aspects of AI is extremely important.
Is some of that work being done right now?
Very, very limited. United Nations is talking about it. We have big countries, mostly US and China, leading creation of these standards. But now almost everything is sort of fair game in terms of every country and company is really trying to break through and become successful. So people are pretty much doing whatever they want because this fear of AGI potentially harming us is maybe not super deeply ingrained now, but it's probably will become increasingly more important maybe 5-10 years from here.
Yeah, I know. For example, Elon Musk is working on trying to develop sensible regulations around artificial intelligence, for those reasons. And I think that's kind of another interesting synergy, right? Like the drone industry also has regulations around it, and these the FAA has an incredible track record. If you think about the fact that stepping on a commercial airliner is safer than stepping in your car, right? And like that's the kind of level of safety that we want our skies to have. So we're finding that the regulatory framework is sensible, and that also it's moving forward and allowing for unique applications like beyond visual line of sight, over 55-pound operation, with certain exemptions that can be acquired for different applications, especially around public safety. So that's been kind of a not a hindrance to us as a company. I guess, when I think about the future, we want AI to be something that helps us. What kind of applications do you see for artificial intelligence in the future? How do you see AI changing our future, obviously, hopefully for the better? What are the applications there?
Well, for sure, Joshua. So I see applications around speech, text and vision. So traditional technology is great with numbers, traditional technology is great with X type of data, but not with speech, text, and vision, image type data, right? So AI can bring huge benefits when it comes to understanding the language, interpreting the language, doing summaries, making predictions, providing insights, and so on, right? So we humans spend probably maybe 80% of the time analyzing what someone is saying and talking also and reading and writing. Just imagine if we can have a sort of supercomputer supplementing and augmenting us. It can be a complete game changer, right? So I see huge benefits there. And also when it comes to improving automation, right? For example, manufacturing or self-driving cars, and you are expert in that, Joshua. So self-driving cars is also great application of AI, right? And one interesting question is, it's sort of obvious that the US is leading when it comes to almost all things AI. China is sort of catching up, but I'm also curious in drone space, who is leading, which country is leading, and what can US do to, be number one in this space?
Yeah, that's a great question. China is definitely the world leader in the drone space. There's a Chinese company, I'm sure many of our audience is familiar with them, DJI. They have, I think, 80% of the commercial drone market in the United States. And there's been a lot of pushback against DJI. They were kind of caught red-handed gathering intelligence data from over the US. And, there's several US government agencies that have been using DJI drones that now are no longer allowed to. And this is pretty controversial because, for example, the Department of Interior was using a large fleet of DJI drones to do work on wildfire, and all of a sudden all those drones are grounded. They have to rebuild that entire fleet, which is extremely expensive. But at the same time, it's an opening for US drone companies to begin expanding in the market. So there's a huge push for US drone companies. There's a bit, every government contract we talk to, or every government agency we talk to about getting contracts with, they want to make sure, are you using a Chinese flight controller or a US made flight controller? And, what percentage of your drone is Chinese made parts? So we're committed as a company to building US made technology and, becoming a leader in that heavy lift space, which is good for us because we don't have to compete with DJI. All of DJI's drones are 55 pounds and under. And so we're differentiated right there by being in that heavy lift space. And obviously that may not be the case forever, but we want to leverage that while we have it to become a leader in that space. I guess that kind of, there's so much to talk about with AI. It's such an interesting field. I guess I want to understand, what are your core strengths as a company in the AI field? Because I can only imagine that it's a pretty crowded space.
For sure. And so I would emphasize a few things. First is our approach to building AI, which is very different from everyone else. The way people are trying to build, for example, some of the sort of next level of artificial intelligence is by trying to rebuild the brain, which is almost impossible problem to do. We found a much more practical and we believe much more effective way of trying to lay foundation for next day level AI, which is sort of crowdsourcing, gathering all the AI tools. It's the one platform and then connecting these AI tools with each other, same way as how different body parts are connected. That's a big differentiation, and I hope And we'll see whether we will be right in this or not, whether this is the best way to build it or not. That's one thing. And another thing is team. Our team members say a vast amount of experience in artificial intelligence. I was running AI company before. My co-founders have been doing AI for many, many years. My co-founder worked at Google before, and my other co-founder is completing PhD at Harvard right now. So sort of a quick summary, and I'd like to ask also the same question, Joshua. What strengths that core strengths that parallel technology has that is really differentiating and is a game changer for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, our core strength as it is, we also have a fantastic team here. We have, interestingly, a machine vision expert as one of our co-founders. And my other co-founder has drone expertise with the Navy, doing drone swarm research, as well as, he was also an engineer on a nuclear sub. So that's, the military background, which just brings a lot of discipline to everything we do as a company. And then myself with, I'm really a powertrain guy, and that's what, powertrain, and also a lot of model aviation experience in the helicopter world. So kind of bringing that all together, reinventing powertrain, looking at high efficiency systems. So, for example, prior to Tesla, I was building high efficiency generator systems for fishing boats in Alaska. So Archil, have you seen Alaska's Deadliest Catch? Have you ever watched that show?
Yeah.
Okay, so I know, like, those guys were my customers, right? Like, I knew, I worked on their boats doing these high efficiency systems, and then after that at Tesla doing electrical engineering for the semi-truck program. And really the thread there is high efficiency and first principles of physics. Like, how do you get the most out of whatever your whether it's a battery or fuel source that you're using. So team, technology, and then, we also, I would say, a strength for our company is the relationships that we're developing with the agencies and customers that we're working with. There's some really exciting things happening there, especially in the wildfire space, working with the Forest Service. We have a grant right now from the USDA. Forest Service is part of USDA, and we're working with a partner company that makes this incredible device that drops dragon eggs, which are these balls that light on fire when they hit the ground to create backburns and controlled fire. And I think, also that's an area where AI, I think, is going to play a really big role, is quantifying the effectiveness of air operations on fire, which, this is something that I've just learned. I'm sure our audience would be interested in this, that it is currently not really understood how effective different air operations are on mitigating fire. And by putting drones in the air with AI and machine vision analyzing the operation, we're going to learn a lot about what are the most effective ways to fight fire from the air and actually quantify it. So I think that's going to be a big application. I definitely want to give time for our audience to ask questions. It's, obviously, both of our companies, Parallel Flight and GenesisAI, are crowdfunding right now. And by virtue of doing that, it allows us to interact with a lot of investors and potential investors. And I think it's a great opportunity for everybody to learn from each other. So at this point, Sarah, can you open up the Q&A?
Yes, absolutely. And thank you guys. This has been such an interesting conversation, and I'm so glad that we got together to do this. So one of the first questions that we got is about kind of how this webinar came to be, specifically asking, if our two companies are working together and how you became connected. So I think everyone would like to know a little bit more about that.
Sure.
For sure. Yeah. I will say that there's so much synergy between drones and AI, and I really hope that Joshua and I will actually do a actual, implementation of how we can work together on this area. We have been having discussions about AI and drones, and a big fan of parallel technology. So I think we can do something beautiful in the future.
Yeah, and the specifically a mutual friend of ours who just happened to know both of us said, "Hey, you guys are really have a synergistic technology. I think you need to share that with your investor base." So that was kind of the genesis, no pun intended, of this particular webinar.
Awesome. Another question we got was for you, Joshua, about whether or not Parallel Flight will be including AI in our platform. So Pierre asked, does Parallel plan to include AI in the platform with tweak setting depending on the application? He's specifically asking about experimental imaging for observation. And he just wants to understand, what a company like Genesis could bring to that.
So I'll answer the first part, and then Archil, if you can answer the second part, I think it'd be good. So we don't have specific AI built into our beta level aircraft that's under construction right now. Our flight controller will follow a specific GPS path. And there's some intelligence in there in the sense that auto takeoff, auto land, but down the road, we are going to incorporate AI for image recognition, especially around putting out spot fires. So like I said, we're already working, right now this individual is out of Spain, but he's going to be moving to the US. He's working with the San Jose State University Fire Sciences program, and he's developed an AI platform for identifying and tracking the spread of wildfires. So we're going to be working with him to incorporate that into our technology. Archil, what other applications there do you see?
For sure. So Genesis AI is mostly focused on the asset management space, and direction application we have been researching is using AI and drones to get better idea of supply dynamics in commodities markets. For example, there are hundreds of billions of dollars being traded around oil and gas and so other futures, right? And understanding what the supply of oil or even supply of crops, right, is extremely important. So drones can be an ideal solution in this, in terms of you apply AI to basically drones and AI will work together to take pictures and then analyze these pictures, right, to get an understanding of how much, how much soybeans we're gonna have. Will this year be great or will this be disaster, right? So it just can be a way for our platform to give insights to investors much far ahead than it's basically being predictive rather than focusing on the past, right? As numbers comes out around supply, but usually too late, it's already priced in, right? But if you can see that in real time, that can be game changer for investors.
Yeah, definitely. One question we had, it was specifically about aviators, but I think we can kind of expand on it for a variety of different applications. But the question was, how do aviators stay relevant in this new tech and drone world, given that drones and AI are replacing humans? I think that question goes, far beyond aviation. So I'd love to get both of your perspectives on that.
Yeah, I'll give the aviation perspective. And I wanted to ask Archil the same thing because, I have my own opinions, but I want to see what he thinks about kind of this fear of, replacing the human. So from the aviation perspective, the tasks that we want to replace helicopters with are incredibly dangerous. And so, for example, the Forest Service right now, they spend $500 million a year doing controlled burns. A lot of that happens from helicopter. It's an incredibly dangerous mission. A lot of pilots have died over the past 10 years in that mission because the helicopters are flying low and slow. So they're pushing to have drones do those missions. And then there's plenty of other missions that can be done. The helicopter industry is not going away or being replaced by drones, but there are certain missions that are just so dangerous that it's just better and safer to have drones do those missions. Um, and so I think that's the kind of the key answer there, is that companies want to pay for safety for their pilots, so their pilots can then go be effective in other missions.
Mm-hmm. For sure, and I'll take the second part. When it comes to AI replacing some of the jobs, what I found is AI is replacing some of the jobs, but it's also creating lots of new jobs, right?
Mm-hmm.
For example, when uh, car manufacturing started, people who were riding cars and horses lost jobs, right? And there was huge percentage of population employed in riding horses and riding cars, right? But as the new technology came, it created hundreds of millions of different types of jobs, right? All related to the car manufacturing. You also need different roads, you need different supplies, the car parts, and so on, right? Or you think about, for example, influencer. Before, there were no such thing as YouTube influencers, right? Now, lots of people make money just by being YouTube influencer, right? So I think it is actually creating more jobs than it is replacing. But most importantly, it is automating some of the jobs that are ideally, it might be better if technology did it. For example, people would prefer to do X versus Y, right? For example, I prefer to spend my time debating versus looking in one direction for 24 hours and guarding that location, right? I don't think humans are born to guard locations for 24 hours. So I think it's AI is good and drones are good, and I think these two industries are complete game changers.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a question about our raises specifically that you both can answer. How long you'll be planning to fundraise with your current rounds, and then what your path out is. Like, do you have dreams of an IPO, or where do you see the company going from a raise perspective?
Sure. So our current raise, it technically can stay open for up to a year. So we'll see. I imagine it's not going to be open that long. We've got some really exciting things coming down the pike, and we'll close the raise once we've raised our target amount. And in terms of an exit, ultimately, yeah, I mean, we're looking toward an IPO down the road, but as an early stage company, my focus is build the product, get it on the market, grow the company, and increase the value of the company, and then we can figure out that exit as it gets closer.
Yes, so I would briefly mention about our current race. So we will likely be doing our current race for 4 more weeks. So a few weeks left. And we already raised over 850,000. And I'm sure there are a few of my investors in this webinar, and I would like to thank everyone for support and for joining. And I'm sure together we are stronger, much stronger actually. And when it comes to talking about potential IPO, of course, no guarantees here. But our goal is to go very big and go very large. Mm-hmm. Our goal is to become single most valuable AI technology in the world, which I think will be one of the best things that will happen to humanity potentially, if some creation of AGI will happen in addition to some other things. So our goal is to go very big, and this will be a few years of journey at least. So I really like to have as many participants as possible, and I really appreciate people joining us. But of course, just saying again, this is startups, higher risk, higher rewards. Investment can go to zero, or it can also go through the moon too.
Yeah, and I also wanted to thank all of our investors for believing in us, coming in, and supporting our company as we plan to go big as well.
Great. We're getting close to time, but we've got a couple more really great questions that I'd love to answer if you guys don't mind going over by a couple minutes.
Sure.
We'll start with one for Archil. How do you see MSFT and AWS in your ecosystem? Are they potential competitors, laggards, or potential acquirers? The AI marketplace idea is fantastic, but marketplaces are difficult to build. How will you succeed in growing your marketplace?
Yeah, this is an excellent question.
Yeah.
So Microsoft and Amazon to tell to everyone what companies we're talking about. So currently they have their tools built by developers and they almost exclusively for developers. So for example, if you go to a AWS marketplace and if you are not technical, you probably will not be able to use any of those tools there right now. And our belief and our vision is AI for everyone. You should not need to be spending hundreds of hours how to learn coding to be able to use this beautiful technology. So we are building AI tools for both technical and non-technical people, most importantly. So that's one big difference. And second big difference is how we are crowdsourcing hundreds of thousands of potential AI tools in the future on our platform versus AWS or Microsoft having just few tools on its platform, right, developed by themselves. And to be honest, we would like to take over this guys. We don't want to be acquired by these companies. We would like to be bigger than these companies, and we would like to take some of the AI powers they have and share it with the people.
Great. All right, Joshua, this next one is for you. The initial firefighting use case is great. What other cases and industries do you see Parallel expanding into in the future, given your unique capabilities? How big are these markets and what are you prioritizing?
Great question. So we still have a tremendous amount of traction in the fire space. That being said, we are, the way we're prioritizing customers is traction customers. We get obviously more requests than we can deal with. So we're trying to find those companies that have the biggest markets, have the most drone experience, and can scale quickly with the least regulatory friction. So for example, there's a partnering company. We're going to be announcing stuff about this over the next couple months in Australia that we're working with, and they're doing power line construction. And right now they're already using drones to do it. Basically the drone pulls a lead line and then they pull the main cable after that, and they assemble these power lines with drones. And this is a very big growing market because Australia, Europe, and even the United States, they're bringing on many renewables there, and these grids are being built across these continents. So very scalable market. This company has found that the electric drones that they're using just don't have the pulling power or the flight time to manage this. So they are basically firing their existing solution and hiring ours, and they'll probably be our lead customer even before we start fielding stuff for fire, though that's in the works as well. So we kind of bucket that into the industrial logistics market, which is very large. I don't have the numbers in front of me. We'll do some other questions and then I will come up with the specific numbers because it's actually in our pitch deck. And then the other big market is healthcare. So delivery of, for example, now this opportunity for refrigerated vaccines, where we're carrying a refrigeration unit under the aircraft with the COVID vaccines when they're available. We're already getting requests in rural communities. For example, I'm in conversations with groups in Alaska that do unmanned systems, where that's one of the lead applications up there is going to be transporting COVID vaccines. So these things are on the horizon, and then I'll come back in a few minutes with the actual market size.
Okay, excellent. I think we probably have time for just one more question, so I'll kick this one off with you, Archil, which is about military uses. I think that's something that is top of mind from both the drone and AI industries. And have you considered military uses for your platform, and how do you think it would be used?
This is a great question. So I'll take the AI part. So AI, I think the warfare that will be from now to next, hundreds of years, will be mainly tech focused. It will be more sort of cyber warfare where biggest part there will be actually who will have the most and best AI tool. And even Russian President Vladimir Putin said that country with the most successful and best AI will control the world. And I actually agree that that's how it will be. So it is imperative for US to take a lead and retain its lead in this space, because we want US to be the most important country and the most successful country, both militarily and non-militarily. We want to succeed in artificial intelligence space.
Great. And I can follow up on the drone side there. So just to finish up on the last question, the industrial logistics vertical is 65 billion by 2025. Healthcare is 20 billion by 2025, and firefighting is currently 10 billion in the US, Canada, and Australia. And in terms of military applications, if you think about it, like the military is already dominated by drones. There's many different drone platforms that are out there. In terms of our specific technology, the military interest there is the kind of last mile logistics. And then also we're talking with some groups about doing manned flight. So kind of like urban air mobility, but for moving people around in what they're calling orbs. This idea of flying orbs, which is like a one-man flying car idea. And then also, and I think this is a more near-term potential customer, the Navy. We're talking with some high-level computer science people in the Navy that actually want to use our platform essentially as a mule to carry, of all things, an AI system that can coordinate multiple drones for security applications. And then eventually they would shrink it down to a smaller platform. But the initial idea is to use our technology to support the research. But there's a lot of different military applications, mostly around logistics.
Excellent. All right, well, thank you guys. I want to make sure that we leave a little bit of time for you guys to give any closing remarks and talk about, where people can go to learn more information about both Parallel Flight and GenesisAI. So I'll let you guys get started with that. Joshua, do you want to start?
Sure, yeah. So thanks everybody for coming. It's really a pleasure and just a lot of fun to have these conversations. Sarah will put the link to our Start Engine campaign into the chat. Our campaign's just been open for about a month and a half. We're getting pretty close to $500,000, so super excited about that. It's a Regulation A campaign, which means it's not limited to that 1.07 like Reg CF is. We're raising $7.5 million, and the other kind of exciting part about Regulation A is just that it's all been vetted by the SEC, so it's a highly vetted deal. And thanks for coming, thanks for listening. And Archil, if you want to talk about your deal, I think everybody would love to hear it.
For sure. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone, including Joshua and Sarah, for the great webinar, and our investors and all the attendees. This was absolutely fabulous. And second, our campaign is on Net Capital. I think Sarah will post about our link, and we'd love to see more people joining us. Our vision is AI for the people and by the people. We are looking for more participants. Together we are much, much stronger. So I hope that together we'll build a great AI company. So really excited to have these conversations, and I'm sure this is just the beginning.
Wonderful.
Okay. Thank you everyone for joining. There are some links dropped into the chat for your reference, and we will also send an email out to everybody with a recording of this webinar later today. Thank you all.
Thanks everybody.
Thank you.